What's going on, everybody? It's HBCU Game Day, and we have just completed week one of the HBCU college football season. And man, a lot of miles logged on the road, a lot of games saw, a lot of things to talk about. And so I am joined by none other than our own Joshua Williams, who our cinematic expert, who's been on the road just as much as I have this weekend as we started the season. I started the MEAC SWAC Challenge, but we started the weekend, the first full weekend of college on Thursday night at Norfolk State, and then we went two separate ways, and we converged to talk. We converged to go to two different classic games. So we'll talk about that as well as maybe a couple other stuff. So Josh, man, first off, how you doing, man? How are you feeling and everything like that?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, man. It just felt good to finally be back out on the field shooting some football. My favorite sport. So, just being able to get back into the HBCU atmosphere, filming different games, the hype and the excitement, all these new different storylines that we're about to talk about. It was definitely good to get back out there. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, man, nah, it's definitely an exciting time. Like I said, I got a chance to go to the MEAC SWAC Challenge over in Atlanta, and that was cool. That was always a vibe. But start the season, and obviously, one of the big things we talked about all year was Michael Vick coming to Norfolk State. I was able, talk about being on the road, man. I hit that road to Norfolk quite a bit. Got a citation this week. We'll keep it real. I got it. So that's a legendary road, man, that that's taking a lot of people down. And man, I take a lot of trips and never once until this weekend. But it was the Labor Day weekend. They got me. They was out there. And it wasn't the last time. But anyway, so yeah, so we started off the season with Norfolk State and Towson. And yeah, man, I know I got there on, first take was there early in the morning, and I my plan was to wake up and go to first take, which is like a 4.5 hour drive from Winston, but didn't happen. It didn't happen. So I got there up there about 4 o'clock after I checked into my hotel. What about you? How did it go with you?
So I actually got up there. I thought I got up there early. I got up there around like 3:30, and I was like, all right, cool. Let me head out, get out there around like 4:35 because the kickoff wasn't until 7. Man, I tell you, that parking situation, it was insane. Like just seeing all the people that was excited for to see Vic in the season opener, it was like coming through the city, you could just see it. The more and more closer you got, the more and more cars you're seeing, the more and more traffic you're seeing, all the Ubering and stuff like that. The tailgate, you can hear the music from miles away. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's one of them type of games. I can see it already.
Yeah, it didn't feel like, you and I both been to Thursday night games. Central seems to love those Thursday, Friday night games. And I've been to Thursday night games at other places, and it was just a different vibe. It did kind of feel, homecoming-ish, or at least a classic-ish against a rival. But this wasn't that. This is just the first time Michael Vick stepped out as a head coach. I do, again, since we were there, like you said, the whole experience of it was interesting. But I would say I remember writing a story about them making the deal with the transit authority, and it didn't really dawn on me how that was going to work. But it seems like if you didn't already get your parking for this year already, or if you don't pay in advance, you probably not gonna get there the day of the game. You're gonna be redirected like I was to there's a mall, MacArthur Mall, and either take the bus or take the light rail, which is how I got in. I got a whole different story with the light rail too. The whole man, it was a whole wild weekend, but yeah, man. So I think it's going to be interesting. Again, that parking situation for people who are Norfolk State fans, maybe it won't be as bad, especially if you live in the area, because you might be more familiar with the transit system and how that runs. Um, I got locked out. I had to really, I had a circumstantial route to get back to my car. But it's going to be interesting to see how that works logistically for them. They had 19,000 people there, which I know their stadium holds about 30,000. So I thought 19,000 looked about right to me, which I did some research. That was their most attended game outside of homecoming or Virginia State since at least 2015, and probably back even further than that. So Yeah, it was definitely major. And all you saw, as much Norfolk State stuff as you saw Michael Vick jerseys. I swear I saw every jersey that Michael Vick ever put in pads on there, including some Pee Wee jerseys. You know what I mean? Like they had his high school. I saw his high school jersey out there,
Oh,
and of course AI had the custom whatever he had. So what about you? I mean, yeah, what was, any observances any things that you saw? I mean, I saw obviously you got a chance to see the guys at the radio station and what that was
yeah.
like, just talk, did you get to talk to people or at least hear, kind of what the buzz was around there?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know, but I have a younger sister and she actually goes to Norfolk State herself and she's a sophomore.
Okay.
And she was telling me all week, like, you might want to get here early because people are talking about like it's gonna be deep, it's gonna be packed. I'm like, all right, cool. Like I've been to big games before. Nothing like that. Like you said, it felt like a homecoming S type vibe, the way the parking situation was with being able to park. I think I parked on the side of a building beside a dumpster of a trash can. I don't know how, but somehow I got in and had the parks there. And just see, like you said, seeing all the different jerseys, seeing all the different Norfolk State stuff. Like I said, I seen a whole bunch of different Norfolk State customized Vic jerseys. I seen a whole lot of Atlanta Falcons jerseys. I seen a whole lot of some Eagles jersey. I seen a whole bunch of different jerseys of different types of apparel that Michael Vick
Virginia
had.
Tech, Warwick High School, all of that. Yeah.
It was all of the above. But overall, like it was just a great experience seeing all those people out there. And I would be even more surprised if it's not going to be even more packed this weekend with their coming up game against Virginia State that we'll get into later on.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Yeah, definitely got to touch on the game about Virginia State. You are watching or listening to HBCU Game Day. Yeah, man, it was definitely, yeah, it definitely was a lot of build up. And so then they got time for the game. And Josh, I don't know, I didn't see it when it happened, and I know why I didn't see it when it happened because so before you and I talked right before the game about because we were waiting on Vic's interest. Obviously, it's his first game leading the team out as a head coach. So that was a big deal. So, there's a lot of media out there. Everybody's trying to get there, but also most of us are trying to stay out of the way of other people. Most of us.
Yes.
Besides that, ban people. That's a whole nother discussion. We'll get there. Yeah, man, it was. Yeah, and so I was like, okay, so I had my big camera take still photos, but I had my iPhone with my tripod that with my it is a MagSafe tripod. It's pretty easy to move around. So I said, okay, I'll get the shot of him coming out and everything like that. And I did, but it was disjointed. It was his first time doing it, and I think you'll see a theme. It was his first time doing a lot of things on Thursday night, and so started the season, jitters, everything. It didn't go off as smoothly as we thought. And then I realized it went off way less smoothly for one security guard than I thought. Did you see that clip? Or did you see it when it
Yes.
happened? I did not
Yes.
see it when it happened. And I know why I didn't see it when it happened. Because I literally looked at my clip after I saw the security guard. Shout out to him. Hopefully he's okay. We might see him again this weekend, so we not laughing too hard. But there was a guard that tripped over something and took a tumble. Did you see that in real time? Because I did not.
Yeah, so I think I kind of understood what happened. So I was like facing straight on. I want to get the straight on shot of Vic coming out. It was some people that was kind of getting in between, but like you said, that's a whole different story. So I'm shooting and I see him come out. I'm like, oh yes, I'm getting the shot. Then how it's set up, they have their long jump board right there, right where their little place is where they run onto the field. So with teams, whenever they have their track stuff out, like if they have the sandbag dirt for the long jump
Mhm.
and stuff like that, they'll cover it up. They'll put like something over it. So they had like a little step up stanchion that had like turf or something on it. So what happened was whenever he was running out, he tripped over it on his foot, trips over it. Vic almost trips up and falls. I actually have the clip to where he looks back, he keeps on going. So that's kind of what happened. I actually got it myself. I went back and looked. I was like, did he really fall? I'm like, yeah, he fell face first. One of the officers went back, had to help him up, but after that, they was cool. They got it, ran out the tunnel, and then they got the game going.
Yeah, man, that was crazy. I didn't see it until afterwards when I looked and when I looked at that clip, and then I was like, I said, well, how did I miss that? And I realized literally. I was following Vic, and then when Vic got out of my sight, I started turning back. But I did see the actual slip in my video, so it was crazy. Again, shout out to him. Hopefully he's okay. But that kind of was emblematic of the game. We don't have to rehearse too much of the actual things that happened at the game that people saw, but that was part of emblematic of how the first night went for Michael Vick. It was a lot of attention, a lot of excitement, a lot of stumbling. Again, you and I were both on the sidelines, and again, a lot of anticipation there was packed. But again, it felt like we were watching someone coach their first game as a head coach. And he talked about it in the press conference how he had some jitters and things like that. But I just, as we were talking, it was like, we didn't really, usually the head coach, when you're on the sideline, there's so many people on the sideline already. And so sometimes it can be hard to see the head coach, but usually especially once the team starts driving, and they have a timeout or something, you start to see the coach come out and, be out there with them. We didn't see Michael Vick for a lot of that. He was kind of in the crowd for quite a bit, in the crowd on the sidelines. So we saw a lot of his assistants. I got Torrey Woodbury and some other folks. We saw a lot of them. Again, and we knew coming into this, he was a rookie head coach. He had never been a coach before. And I was able to watch Coach Prime in his first game. And you could tell a difference because you could tell, we know Coach Prime had already been a coach on the sidelines previously. So, it was a little bit more natural to him in his first game. But yeah, and I think you kind of talked about that. So, kind of give it from your vantage point.
So yeah, like I said, from what we talked about at the game, we didn't really see much of it. Like he blended in on the sidelines a lot, and I like how you emphasize that because sometimes people don't see it on TV, but whenever we're shooting these games and we're on the sideline and the team's driving down the field, we got a full-on sprint because we can't really go through the players box, so we have to full-on sprint around the cheerleaders, around the Gatorade coolers and stuff like that. And while the team's driving, a lot of the times the head coach, like if the defense is struggling, they'll come over and talk to the defense while the defensive coordinator is talking to them like, hey guys, we got to do this better. We got to do this, trying to like pump their guys up and stuff like that. For example, in the game, the starting quarterback was kind of struggling a little bit until they went to the backup quarterback. So sometimes in those situations, you will see the head coach come over to their quarterback and be like, hey, like, what do you see? Like, slow down, calm down, take your time. Like, just different things like that. Talking to his players, talking to his teammates. Not saying that he didn't do that, but it just was like, it wasn't seen a lot. Cause like you said, with you being at the game where you first saw a prime coach, I'm pretty sure you've seen it a couple of times running back and forth, sideline to sideline. You see the coaches talking to the wide receivers, the DBs, the D line, telling them to get some pressure or let's get this first down, let's get the drive going and stuff like that. He kind of blended into the crowd, which I kind of made a tweet and I was like, he was just, I don't know if it was between him trying to figure out what he wanted to do or if he wanted to let his coaching staff coach and let him figure out what he wants to do. Because sometimes he probably doesn't want to overcoach his players as well. Like he wants to let them figure it out himself. And like you just said, he's a rookie. So he's trying to figure out what he wants to do to be a better coach, to probably try to figure out what his team can learn from him better.
Yeah. No, it was like I said, so it was a tough debut. They ended up, it was 27-7 loss against Towson. So it was tough. After the game, I went to the press conference and and I saw you had the video of the fans outside. What was the chatter that you were hearing outside there before you got to the press conference?
So the chatter that I was hearing around, like I said, I put like you stated, you see the video put up on Instagram. Still a lot of fans. I mean, all the fans were still there, literally walking by. You can even hear in the video. It's just the first game, y'all. Just the first game. Don't keep your head up. It's just one game. We're gonna be back. It's okay. So that's a great thing to know that the fans are behind him no matter, even though they took a tough loss to Townsend, the fans are still going to be behind them. The fans are not just going to give up on them and throw away the whole season so early, which many fans do overreact in week one. Like it's only week one, it's okay. While they was coming off the field, everybody high-fiving each other and stuff like that. We're all good. We're all good. It's just one game. So that was a good sight to see from the fans.
Yeah, no, I agree. There was, there was, it definitely, there was a lot of room for growth and improvement. And I think Michael Vick knows that, and he saw that. And I expect for him to make those adjustments again and get better. They say you get better from week 1 to week 2. Norfolk State should hope so, because that Virginia State team is coming in to play them, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Is they're a Division II team, but they're not going to be intimidated by Norfolk State, the crowd, or Michael Vick. And neither is their coach. So we'll get to that in just a little bit, but. Yeah, man. And after the game is when things really got interesting for me. I'll just say, I had to get back on the light rail, and the light rail way that I got in was closed, and the lights were off, and so I had to find the other side of the light rail on the other side off of campus. And then I got rerouted, and then I got routed the opposite way. I'm thinking it's going to swing back. It didn't. I was on the last light
Oh
rail.
my gosh.
My battery was dead. My battery in my phone was dead. And I'm just like, and they were like, yeah, this is the last time. It's like, we're not going anywhere. I'm like,
Oh my
so
gosh.
yeah, man, it was real. Thankfully, there was a security officer there who let me, who allowed me to charge my phone in his car because the outlets that were outdoors were not working. So
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
it was a long night for your boy, and also trying to get something to eat. At apparently there's a Wawa's in Portsmouth that closes at 12, and who knew? And apparently, apparently there's a Royal Farms in Portsmouth, Virginia, where the people who cook the chicken may not show up, and God bless you. All I'm gonna say is, if you're going to Portsmouth, Virginia, and you're hanging out late night, make sure you eat before you get back, or have somebody cook it.
Crazy.
Yeah. So there was that. So that was on Thursday night. And then Friday I drove back. That's when I got my little citation there. It wasn't a speeding ticket though, so it was a little lesser. So we'll take that. Hopefully your Friday was smoother. Did you go straight to Nashville? Because I know there's a ride, or did you? And your game was earlier, or did you go back home and then head back up to Nashville?
Yeah, so I went back home on Friday night. Then I went to go cover some high school football, and then Saturday morning I got up around like 6:30, 7ish, and then head out. Then went to Nashville.
Oh man, how long of a ride was that for you?
7 hours, about 7 hours.
7 hours, man, guys. If you are listening to this and you haven't already hit the thumbs up button, what are you doing, man? I drove 12 hours after doing the high school game to bring you guys some exclusive footage from the John Merritt Classic, North Carolina A&T against Tennessee State University. Yeah, man. So yeah, I wasn't there. So tell me what that experience was like, and tell people something that something that they saw, what something you saw in the pregame that they wouldn't know or they didn't see.
So 7 hours was worth it. I'll go ahead and put it out there now. It was definitely worth it because it was a great game. It was my first time in Tennessee. I've never been out to Tennessee before. So going through the mountains was kind of scary. It was kind of scary at first, but we was all right. But the game was amazing. The atmosphere out there was shocking to me because I didn't know until the week of that they don't play in their actual like stadium. Like they play in
Right.
the Tennessee's Titan Stadium. So that was pretty cool to me to go over there and see that for the first time over there at Nissan Stadium. So that was pretty cool. And just to see the amount of Aggie fans out there was surprising to me. Like it was a lot. Like it was a whole North Carolina A&T tailgate out there where a group of a whole bunch of Aggies out there just out there enjoying their time out there. And it was a pretty good sight to see because that just shows me right there that they're all behind head coach Sean Gibbs that they're looking forward to with this North Carolina A&T football team.
Yeah, man. Those Aggies, they are everywhere. And they do travel. So yeah, man. What was the vibes? I mean, what were the people? What were you getting from the people there? just, maybe again, just straight up conversations or just hearing the conversations from the Tennessee State folks. A lot of times they are left out of a lot of these HBCU conversations because of the conference that they play in. Obviously they've had, and then also obviously they had the change in coaches from Eddie George to Reggie Barlow. So what was the vibe like amongst the TSU fans that you saw there? And then, obviously talk about the end of the game and maybe some, what you saw.
So the vibes from the Tennessee State fans was very, very high. As soon as I walked up to them and I'm walking through the tailgate, I'm like, "Hey, how y'all doing?" They're like, "Oh, we're doing good." And I'm walking around with my phone trying to get like content. And I'm like, "Yeah, I work with HBCU Game Day." They're like, "Oh, HBCU Game Day? Okay, hey, well, you want to play? Somebody offered me a plate." Definitely got my plate. But it was a pretty good vibe out there. Like it seemed like that they had like you said, like since they're not in the HBCU conference, they were happy to see that there were people actually that are from like a company to still come out there and cover them and show them love. Like even when I was out in the media room, that I was telling some people that I work for HBCU Game, and it was like, "Oh, that's what's up." Like we're glad that we're actually getting coverage out here because it's not that many people that come out here and cover us in the first place. So they was pretty ecstatic and happy about that as well. But the game was crazy. The game was very, very, very crazy. Started off kind of slow. Tennessee State Tennessee State came down. They got a very, very great defense that I'm going to talk about. They got some great defensive players that look pretty good this season. But the game started off slow, but then North Carolina A&T came down and scored very, very early. But then Tennessee State came back and scored right back. Then it kind of went stalemate for the first half. Then later on, Tennessee State went up again. Thought it was going to be a blowout, but then North Carolina A&T had a quarterback change. I'm going to talk about that as well. They had a quarterback change, and that quarterback is a redshirt freshman that led them to try and come back and potentially win the game, led them all the way down the field, 80 yards for a potential game-winning, game-tying field goal to send them to overtime. It was blocked by Tennessee State. They get the win. Tennessee State took the close win over A&T in a 24-21 victory.
Yeah, man. So you were down there on the field. I had just tuned in just in enough time to see that final drive. And so I tweeted out, hey, North Carolina A&T is finally going to be the team that doesn't have 26 scholarships for the first time in 2 years, They did beat my Rams last year, so I'm still a little salty about that. But again, as far as a D1 team, they haven't beaten a D1 team since September 30th, 2023. So they were really this close. It looked like at least they could get into overtime and play into it, but they didn't. And so anything that you recall from the moment of the block, just like what the energy was like in the room, and just kind of from anybody in there, just something that maybe folks didn't see at the game from watching on TV?
So, like I stated, it was a lot of North Carolina A&T fans out there. Whenever A&T got that ball back with 80 yards to go, every single A&T fan in the building stood up. They're clapping. Aggie pride. They're getting their chants on. It's getting loud. I'm like, okay, they potentially have a chance to go down and win this game. And the A&T fans were all under them. They were all supporting their Aggies. And whenever they marched down the field and didn't get the field goal block, and whenever they did get the field goal block, even though the Tennessee State fans were celebrating, I walked around to the A&T fans as well. They were still clapping, still applauding, like, "Hey, we look good. Like, we look better than we did last year." And that's one of the main things that all the fans were talking about. They was like, "We look good." And I'm asking them, like, "Hey, like, that was a close game." I'm talking to some of the coaches. I'm like, "That was a good game." They was like, "We gonna get us one." And so what you saying that they haven't gotten a Division I win since 2023, I will go out and say it myself. They will get a Division I win this season. They will get one. They're going to get a Division I win this season, and it might happen soon. I'm not going to say too much. It might happen very, very, very soon. They look different under Coach Gibbs.
Man,
they look
go
different.
ahead, man.
They
Go ahead, get your hot take off, man. How soon do you think they might get it, man?
I'm gonna say
there's a game you're thinking about.
I'm gonna say about week 5, week 6. And then I'm gonna say this too: that homecoming game, interesting. That's all I'm gonna say. Interesting. First homecoming game under Coach Gibbs. They look pretty good right now. If they continue to build off the momentum that they have coming up, Could be interesting. Could be very interesting. Very interesting.
Okay. We shall see. We shall see. All right. And so for me, again, I left Virginia on Friday afternoon, Friday morning, and drove back to North Carolina. Got to spend a little time with my daughter and everything like that. And then Saturday morning, I got up and left around 6:30 from Winston-Salem en route to Montgomery, Alabama for the Red Tails Classic. It's the game that I was excited to go to. First time Tuskegee and WSSU got a chance to play each other since 2019. They've been ducking the smoke since then. But nah, I think that WSSU went to Tuskegee in 2019, and Tuskegee was supposed to turn the favor, I believe, in 2020, but AD change and the pandemic and all of that stuff, it never happened. So they played in the Red Tails Classic, which was on ESPNU. So got a chance to get down there on Saturday. Whenever I'm traveling, whenever I'm traveling that way, I always have to, there's two cities I always have to plan for in the traffic, and that is Atlanta and Charlotte. Between those, I hate driving that stretch of road, but it is what it is. You got to get there. So, I left at 6:30 in the morning on Saturday, and it's pretty smooth. I actually had it in my head, and I thought about it for a while to potentially go to see that doubleheader with Clark Atlanta and Valdosta State, and then Fort Valley State and West Alabama in Birmingham. It's not that far away. And I actually set it in my GPS when I was leaving Atlanta. But then you know what? I got a little tired. So I just said, you know what? I'm gonna pull over in a nice, populated area, take a little nap, and I can miss that game. I'll catch the other games. Valdosta State almost lost to Clark Atlanta. That would have, I did kind of feel like, man, I should have won if that would have happened. But it was what it was. Make sure you guys watch the Teddy Keaton show and listen to it as well, exclusively on HBCU Game Day. But yeah, so it was good. Got there on Saturday night. A lot of WSSU folks there, and so we came a long way. I mean, that's about a 7.5 hour drive from Winston, 7 from Charlotte. 7 from Charlotte. It's not a short way. And, everybody, people spent money, you know what I mean? Some people flew in, and between flying to hotels, people, food, people put in about $1,000 trip for a lot of people. And even those who rode, I mean, it's still, costs money to get on the road. You still got to stay for hotels, or there were buses as well. So it was really good to see how many folks came out and supported their team, because, a lot of people won't travel an hour to go support their team at an away game. So the fact that we had, what looked like a couple thousand people on our side, I was really proud of, and I wasn't shocked. We traveled pretty well, and so far as start of the season, there's a lot of excitement. So shout out to Montgomery; they treated us very well there. They had a little get together, man, during Saturday night. Had a little trail ride music going on. Thought about you, Josh. They were having a good time, doing their thing, man. I was just filming. I was just doing the content on that one. I leave that to you, but it was cool, man. It was good vibes. You know what I'm saying? And then, Sunday, we kind of had all day before the game started. Kicked off at 6 p.m. Central Time. And so it was cool, man. It was mostly us coming from out of town at Winston-Salem State, but the Tuskegee folks, especially the ones that were local, they came and they showed up. They had a really nice crowd. The Crampton Bowl is a stadium there. It's a historic stadium, so I got a chance to see my first game at the Crampton Bowl, and so that was dope as well. And man, it was a cool atmosphere. I gotta say too, we have. So they have one of those have you been to Wake Forest, or you've been to one of those FBS games where they have those light shows?
light shows with the stuff be going on. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was cool. I know Southern has one, and I know a couple other HBCUs are getting them now. Winston-Salem State actually has one at Bowman Gray. I haven't seen it yet because they haven't had their night game yet. But so it was cool to see that go off. During the middle of the game, that kind of gave it a big time feel. But it was a solid crowd. I think the crowd there was 15,000 fans. So nothing to sneeze at all. This game was on ESPNU. So nationally televised for two D2 programs, and we had a giving challenge, and shout out to Tuskegee, man. They had one person donate $100,000.
Wow.
That's crazy. That's major. So you take away the $100,000 donation, we won because we raised 30,000, but that was nothing to sneeze at. We had right at 300. We were at right at 300 people give. And shout out to the WSSU, the 1892 crew, led by my guy Corey Williams. They donated 10,000 of their own money, of the money that they've raised as they continue to support student athletes. So both schools won in that, their student athletes got some scholarship money. So that's always important, specifically at the D2 level where, most schools aren't giving out full rides. That scholarship money is super and very much well needed. So, they got all those veterinarians and engineers and big time farm owners. We're a little teachers college, so we just have to do what we can. But now shout out to everybody who gave and supported their school. So yeah, man, and the game was the game. The game was the game, man. Both teams, you could tell it was the first game. Both teams had some jitters. Both teams had some drops. Both teams had some drops. But shout out to Tuskegee. They were able to, figure out how to adjust to what they did wrong, and and pick up a win. Hard fought win. The SIAC actually went 3-2 against the CIAA this weekend after the CIAA swept last year. You had Albany State beating up on Shaw. You had Miles getting slapped by Virginia Union, and you also had what was the other game that I'm thinking of? Oh well, you had Tuskegee beating WSSU. You had Johnson C. Smith beating up on Morehouse. And you also had Fayetteville State looking really bad against Benedict. So 3-2 right now to the SIAC. Josh, your alma mater this week. I think you guys are the CIAA's hope because I don't know if there are any more games after this week between the two conferences. You guys are taking on Allen. Y'all went up to West Virginia and got curb stomped. Charleston's a really good team. So, and then Virginia State played on Thursday night as well. So, yeah, man, we made it out of week one, week 0 in the D2 world. It is week 0. And so next, briefly, we'll talk about week 2, just a couple of things to look ahead of. We have, let's see, and I have my notes here. All right, so let's just talk about it because we'll talk about it in some other spaces as well. But we had Jackson State beating Hampton. That game, I'm not surprised it was close. I'm also not surprised Jackson State won. I figured that was kind of how that was going to go. I figured Hampton would give them a tough fight, but Jackson State is a really good program, and they're not going to get pushed around. Your thoughts on that one quickly?
Just like you said, like I had it be in a close game. Some people had it be in a 3-4 touchdown game. I think that Hampton's a pretty solid team, but I think Jackson State and this ability to be very versatile on the offensive side of the ball this year is going to be very, very hard for a lot of defenses to combat with.
Howard versus FAMU, was that your biggest surprise this weekend?
Yeah, because with the I don't want to say downfall, but with the pressure that's been put on FAMU to get back to where they were, it's not off to a great start. It's not it didn't look good either. Like 10-9, didn't look good. And I don't know if that's going to shape up well with them in their conference play. So I don't know. I mean, I personally think FAMU can turn it around, but if they are, it needs to happen ASAP because it can get ugly very fast. It can get ugly really, really, really fast.
Yeah, and then we got South Carolina State beating Wofford, so they're 1-0. But I wanted to highlight this: Prairie View holding off Texas Southern in that game. Obviously, we saw all the talk, the back and forth between the two coaches and everything like that. And the game had some weather delays and things like that, but it seemed like it lived up to its billing. Are you drinking the Prairie View A&M Kool-Aid, or is it still too early?
With me, I had to let a head coach believe me for a couple of games. Like, okay, there was a lot of talk. Yes, it's week 1, but for the talk that was being talked and the walk wasn't really walking. Like, they got the win. Yes, they got the win. But I need to see a little bit more domination before I'm just fully sold on the PV Kool-Aid.
Okay. All right. And then as we were at the game at Norfolk State, I was keeping up with Virginia State, and I said, hey, Virginia State might be, I would not be surprised if Virginia State won next week.
Yeah.
We have the history of that. These two schools, they are both connected, and I know Norfolk State, they're Division I, and they like to say that, that they're a big state because they're Division I. But guys, I did the research. At one point, the football team at Norfolk State was actually called the Little Trojans.
Wow.
They were actually called the Little Trojans. At first, they were actually called the Little Panthers because it's actually started off as a unit of Virginia Union. So, I know y'all are D1, all of that good stuff, but y'all are not big. Y'all can't be big state. So there's that. But Virginia State, again, they had a really great performance. They got some really big guys on that offensive line, including Bruno, and his last name escapes me, but he's thought of as a potential top prospect for HBCUs as an offensive lineman. He's like 6'7", 6'8", big kid. You got Henry Frazier, who has coached at the Division I level. He came in a couple years ago after saying that he didn't really want to play this game, and then they just happened to beat Norfolk State. What are you giving Norfolk State to Virginia State to win this game? I do hear that Virginia State is a 3.5-point favorite to win this game. What are your thoughts?
Got the 3.5 favorite?
Huh?
You said Virginia State is the 3.5 favorite?
The 3.5 favorite, yeah.
I'm taking that. The reason why I say it, me and you was at the game. I'm pretty sure everybody that watched the game could tell as well. Townsend took their foot off the gas. With all due respect, Townsend took their foot off the gas. It could have. I don't want to say it because I don't want to. My sister, she's probably going to watch this. I don't want her to get mad at me. But they could have ran the score up on Norfolk State if they wanted to. Like anything that they got every third down, moving the ball was very easily to them. I just think personally that if this game was played 3-4 weeks from now to where Norfolk State can find their footing and Vic can find his footing and the coaching staff can all mesh together and come together as a full team and know what they want, okay, my opinion will probably change. But right now, I'm personally going to take Virginia State to win this game. I'll take that 3.5. Hey, y'all can come at me, attack me all you want. I'm going to take that 3.5.
All right. Well, look, man, it's we got week 1 under belts, week 0 for D2. So a lot of excitement this week, man. Where are you going to be at this week?
This week I'm hoping to be out there at Norfolk State and Virginia State.
All right. Yeah. We'll see, man. We'll see. I'm a little road weary, and I gotta watch some citations, man. But we'll see, man. I may see you up there. I expect it's gonna be crazy as long as the weather is good. Matter of fact, let me see what this weather is looking like real quick as of right now, because Norfolk is a city that I keep in here. Norfolk's weather.
It's a 6 o'clock kickoff.
6 o'clock kickoff. So it's hot. It's gonna be a hot weekend in Norfolk. 89 degrees.
Okay.
People are gonna be out there. The people are gonna be out there peopling. Yeah, man, I think I might have to pull up again, man. Now if they lose this one, I don't know. This might be it, but
Because this is another one of my hot takes. VSU wins this game, they can potentially this Norfolk team. We'll know all we need to know after this game. We'll know if this Norfolk team for the rest of the year is going to be a team that we actually need to keep our eyes out on. Because me personally, right now in this week one, I might be overreacting. I said people overreact. I'm calling myself a hypocrite right now. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Delaware State looked better to me than Norfolk State did. Delaware State put up a better game all around from the offense to the defense than Norfolk State did to me. Now, I know I'm going to be out in Norfolk this weekend. I don't want to put a target on my back. I don't want people to try to come at me. I don't want to put a target on my back. I'm just calling the spade spade. I'm just speaking the facts. But if this game goes how I think it's going to go, we're going to know exactly how this is going to – we're going to know if we need to keep our eyes on this for the rest of the season. Because right now, who has my eyes, the new storylines? DJ got my eyes right now. What y'all gonna do this week? Because if Virginia State comes in there, mind you, they're playing at Norfolk. If they let Little State go on and take over Big State, I personally, hey. After that, I'll know everything I need to know. That'll let me know everything I need to know.
We'll see, man. I'm gonna tell you, man. I've been doing it long enough, man. I feel like this is what's gonna happen. Virginia State will beat Norfolk State, then Norfolk State will beat Hampton, and then Hampton will beat Howard. And then what will make any sense? And then Howard may beat Norfolk State, or Norfolk State may beat Howard. Who is gonna know? But that's why we watch the games. That's why we cover the games. And so, yeah, man, I appreciate you for hopping on and talking about it. Like I said, we go to a lot of games, and everybody, when I first started doing this, not as many of these games were on TV. So at that point, just being there, and being there and reporting, we were like the only ones there with cameras and things like that. But now, everybody sees all the games and everything like that. So I think it's important to, when we go out and go to these games, to kind of, give a little bit more than what you see on just videos or in the writing. So, yeah, man, Josh, I appreciate you for hanging out with me today, man. We might have to do this again at some point soon, but yeah, man. Yeah, man. I appreciate you for tuning in, and I appreciate everybody else for tapping in with us. Please make sure you follow our content on all of our platforms. Make sure you download that app. You get all the latest news straight to your phone. I just finished up a story. It says HBCUAD, buy your damn tickets. So, go see what that's about and all the other stuff we got going on, and download our podcast, which is on Apple and Spotify as well, I believe. So, yeah, man, for Joshua Williams, this is SJG, HBCU Game Day, signing off until the next one. Peace.